Guys and girls, welcome to the first installment of A Few Good Minutes with Larissa and Decision. Welcome, Larissa. It's great to have you here. I thought it'd be fun if we could go through a few questions and learn a bit more about you. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Reno, Nevada, which is a long way from here. We came here when I was young. My dad is from Quebec, was from Quebec. We came back when he got sick. So I've been here since I was about 9.
Fantastic. Reno, I love it. When did you start playing rugby?
Probably around 2001, maybe 2000. I played ice hockey, and I was recruited through, I played only on men's teams growing up. And then somebody saw me playing in a men's league and asked me to come play on her girls' team. And I took a bunch of penalties in my first game because women's hockey is zero contact, and I had been used to brawling it up with the boys. Mm-hmm. So I took a few penalties, and bunch of the girls on that team played rugby, and they said, I think you'd find yourself at home on a rugby field. And so I went up to training that week and fell in love with the sport right away.
Wow, that's fantastic. So would this have been a high school team or like a public team?
No, I was like 20, I think I was 22 or 23, 21. So it was a girl who played for TMR. So it was a bunch of the TMR girls were there. And I thought rugby is like, wow, rugby's for athletes, like rugby's for real athletes. I don't belong there. But I went to the training anyways because I really wanted to see what it was, because I remembered the rugby girls from college when I went to Dawson and thought like they looked really cool, and man, it would be cool to be one of them. So I went to try it out, and I fell in love with it. Just here's a ball, go run into those people. I thought and it was great, and I really loved the community around it as well. Got along well with the teams, and I really loved the sort of the practices and the going back to the clubhouse and the social aspect. It was really great.
So the camaraderie is one thing that drew you right into our sport.
Yeah, the camaraderie and the hard work it takes to play, the way that you really have to keep getting up. Hockey, you work hard for a minute, you sit down for 3. In rugby, it's hard work all the time. I found that really, it built a resilience in me that I really appreciated, and I liked the challenge of that.
Fantastic. So you mentioned hockey. Did you play any other sports growing up?
So I was the tall kid in school. So I played basketball for a lot of high school, but I went to an art school, so we didn't have any real teams. I think we had a badminton team, but we had, I think, intramural lunchtime basketball. So I did that. I really wanted to play sports. As a kid, I was a huge tomboy, and my dad and I would watch hockey and watch baseball, and I was always out running around in the yard chasing balls and chasing frisbees and things. So I really wanted to play organized sports. My dream as a kid was to be the first female third baseman for the Montreal Expos. So,
very nice.
When the Expos left, that dream sadly died.
Yeah.
I was still holding out hope. So when I started playing hockey in a pickup league, in a garage league, and I really liked it. And then I joined the Concordia League. They have an intramural league there. Mm-hmm. And I played a lot of like pickup on the side. But rugby is the first sport that I played that was really organized, that was very, very competitive. And I really, really fell in love with that aspect of it too.
And now you're also playing Aussie rules football as well. And you've gained some notoriety. You went to Australia to play as well. Tell us a bit about that.
I did. I made the Canadian B team for Australian rules football. They have a World Cup every year in Australia. And my partner is from Melbourne, so his mom still lives out there. So we went back to stay with his mom for a few months, and I joined a club there and played. It was an amazing experience to be able to hang with girls that grew up playing the sport and being able to contribute. And I made the team, which was really exciting to play club in Australia. There were girls that were not named to the team, so it was pretty great. Again, it's another sport where I found the work rate that is demanded of you to play is really inspiring, and opportunity as a forward. Most of my rugby career I played as a forward, so being able to kick is pretty fun, and challenging myself to learn that new skill and running and kicking accurately and kicking goals and tackling. It's a turnover, a tackle in footy, so I fell in love with that because you work hard defensively and you get a free kick for your hard work. And I joined it because I thought it would be good fitness. I started playing Gaelic football a couple years ago as well, because they have a winter league at Concordia, and I really liked the idea of doing something where I'm moving and interacting as a way to stay fit for rugby. I'm always thinking, like, how can I be, set up to succeed for rugby next season? And when I went to footy, I thought, oh, it'll be good fitness. It'll be good cardio. And as soon as they kicked a ball to me, I thought, I'm obsessed. I love it so much.
I mean, like you said, it's a forward's, wet dream to have a ball and, and they get to kick it and not get yelled at.
To run with it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It is. I see similarities in it when I played it as well. I mean, it's nonstop, pillar to pillar kind of thing, and it's action all the whole time, and just like rugby, it's a sport for anyone. This isn't necessarily a sport for the tall and lanky or the short and stout. This is a sport where everyone can fit into a role and play. Fantastic.
I love that about the sport. I liken it to rugby sevens with the amount of running. I love rugby sevens. It's like quick turnovers between playing offense and defense. I really love the challenge of that too.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. To bring you back to rugby for a second though, can you tell me about your best memory as a rugby player?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. There's so many. Sure. So I've played, I think, 12 or 13 seasons with the Irish. So my first season, double overtime in the final against the Barbs, was pretty incredible game. Beating Kingston in the semifinal, I think in 2011, after we had lost to them, and we worked ourselves to the bone to get to where we were, and then to win that game against this really, really good team was an amazing feeling. Anytime I see the pictures of that game, I still get choked up about it. But for me, playing for Concordia was this huge deal. I played some provincial rugby at the time as well, there's great opportunities there to talk about great games. But for me, Concordia, I played 5 years, and when I started at Concordia, we hadn't been in nationals for 10 years, and we were sort of like second fiddle, third fiddle really to McGill and Laval. And it was understood that it would be really difficult to be able to overcome that. I think McGill hadn't lost a game in 8 years or something.
Wow. And
the Quebec final was, we worked hard. We made it to the final. We beat McGill for the first time. And that, we had José Lacasse was our first coach. And, we worked hard to get to the point where we could beat McGill. And then Spike took over and brought in a scrum coach and brought in all these, when Katie Sheehan came on board as the athletics director at Concordia, she changed the funding and made these huge investments in women's sports. And it made a huge difference for rugby because we had a forwards coach, we had a scrum coach, we were working out all the time in the gym. We had a strength and conditioning coach, speed coaches, and it was just this opportunity to be the best player you could be and the best team we could be. And every one of those girls took it on. And when we got to that final against Laval, we're playing against Karen Paquin. Charlotte was the number 10. It was these players that have gone on to amazing careers with Canada, and they were great at the time. And we won. And I remember the scrum coach telling me, you need to hold the ball in the next scrum. I was playing 8. The 7 is coming off early, and we're going to get the penalty call. And so, we did the scrum, and I just remember thinking I get really nervous in scrums, and this particular time I knew what I could do, and I knew we would do it. Kept the ball in my feet. I heard the whistle for the penalty, picked it up, ran. We got the penalty call. We kicked the penalty, so we were up, I think it was 8-5. And then with a scrum center, I called an 8-man pick, took off, rolled out of the tackle, dove down between the posts, and just burst into tears because I knew there was 5 minutes left in the game. I knew we were going to nationals, and 5 years of hard work was going to get rewarded with a trip and just this pennant and just this incredible feeling.
What a feeling.
Wanting something for many years and working for it.
Oh, that's amazing. What an amazing story. I
That's
love
my
it.
game. That'll be my game forever.
That's a great way. I mean, if I'm, sitting in a rocking chair with my great grandkids one day and they ask me, do anything cool, I'm gonna tell them that story. Uh, that's
Well,
gonna
I got to buy the jersey I wore. They sold off the kit a couple years ago, and I bought that jersey that I went to nationals in, and I wear it all the time to training. That's
oh,
my favorite
that's
rugby possession.
amazing. Gosh, that's a great story. I love it.
Oh,
Um,
I would love to feel that again. We'll get there with the women.
for sure, for sure. All right. You've been fantastic with professing your love for the game. What would you tell someone? What have you told someone before to get them interested or that's thinking about playing rugby?
Well, this year's been pretty good. I got a few girls to come out to training. The thing that I always lead with is that rugby is a sport for everyone. There's a spot for you on the field and there's a spot for you in the team. And like my favorite thing about rugby is you can't do anything alone. You really can't. Every possession is done in a team effort. Every defensive line is done as a team effort. So it's really a sport where you work together, and the community around rugby, the family around rugby is the best selling point. I always say, come to training, you'll have 40 new best friends, because you really can't work that hard with people and spend that much time with people and really be pretty vulnerable sometimes, and put your body on the line for each other and not feel really close to them. So, and our community in particular, as a whole in the province, but if we boil it down to our team, we have something really special. We look out for each other. We post jobs. We help each other out. We have fun stuff that we get up to between games, and it's really it's a family. It's not just a sport, and it's not just something we do on Saturdays. It's really all year round.
Two more for me. Favorite rugby player, or someone that you may have crafted your game after, or someone you always looked for in the highlights.
So when I first started playing rugby, I loved watching Portia Woodman play for New Zealand. She was always really dazzling, and the sort of player that, as a forward, you dream of having those kinds of runs and having a game like that. I really loved watching Richie McCaw as a leader and a person who leads by example on the field. I loved his attitude. I always liked listening to him in interviews after the game, because I just really liked his attitude. And I have a lot of quotes of his around my training logs. Like, I always write down little things that he said. And I watched a lot of game footage. When I first started playing rugby, I really wanted to play number 8, and the number 8 was always the best player on every team, and always the player that everyone could rely on in the tough moments of the games. And certainly the teams that I started playing for, the number 8 was really somebody who came through for the team and was a leader. So Sergio Paris, who played for Italy, was regarded as the best number 8 at the time, and maybe of all time, really. So I would watch a lot of game footage of him and sort of watch how he saw the field and how he got around, and the work rate that he had, and the willingness he had to do the 1% stuff, like hitting a ruck really hard, not always just running with the ball and making those big tackles, but hitting every ruck like it matters, and getting in the defensive line and coming up hard, and just playing a 80 minutes of full skill, full hard work, badass game. He's the best. So I watched a lot of him.
Your favorite athlete across any sport, who would that be?
So my favorite athlete, there's two. There's a woman named Erin Phillips who plays Australian football. She played in the WNBA as well, and she's well regarded as the best footballer that there is. And she plays in the professional league in Australia. And I've met her a few times as well, and she's just got an amazing attitude, and she's a great spokesperson for the sport and for women playing professionally. But her skill on the field is really admirable, and I love her attitude as well. She's a great leader. She's a person who leads by example as well, which I think is really important. I admire that a lot, and I want to do that myself. There's Patrick Cripps, who's another Australian rules football player. I still follow rugby, and I definitely still follow Portia Woodman. She's recovering from an injury right now, but she's still there. I still love her. But Patrick Cripps is also an Aussie rules player who plays for Carlton, and he's the guy that he's a bigger guy, but he gets around the field and he'll go in and turn the ball over and put it into the hands of somebody who can do damage with it. And I really admire that as well. I really like the way that he sees opportunities on the field to change the story of the game, even though the team is struggling right now. That's the kind of player I want to be, the kind of player that can lift the team and change the momentum at any time with some hard work.
Fantastic. I mean, I can see that in you, just from knowing you for so long. You know, the ability to you know, have that high work rate and the selflessness, you know, to share the sugar, so to speak. You know, not just run the Larissa show, but make sure it's the team effort. That's a great way of thinking about it, and great model to aspire to be. It's fantastic. Larissa, that's it. Did it hurt?
No, it was
good.
very
Excellent.
nice. I was very nervous, to be honest.
Well, you did great. I can't wait. There's going to be a few more coming up, but I really appreciate you doing this for us.
Tim, thank you so much for reaching out and giving us the opportunity to learn a bit more about each other and keep rugby in our hearts, so that as soon as we have the opportunity to get back out on the pitch, we're ready to go. I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll get right back into it. Thanks again.
I did the speed thing today. I was like, I'm going to put in the work. I'll be ready to go. As soon as they give us the go ahead, I'm ready to go.
Just hitting the ground running. I love it. Great job.
Yeah.
Thanks again.